Hi, welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back if you are a subscriber. So today I wanted to do another anticipated thriller release video, and I've decided to do them monthly. So in my last one, I talked about 3 months, so April, May, and June, but I've decided to start making them monthly. So I'm going to talk about July releases, and there are so many good ones. I am so excited. So first of all, I'm so excited because a lot of these thrillers are actually in isolated settings. And personally, I love thrillers in isolated settings, and I really want to read more of them. But not only are they in isolated settings, they're also in cabins that are isolated in the woods, which is such a perfect place to read about during the summer months. So I'm so pumped. I have a good list of books here. Really quick though, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so and turn on your bell notifications. I have a bunch of fun thriller content with more anticipated release videos. I also will be putting out weekly vlogs starting soon, which I'm really excited about. I'm also planning on making a list of my favorite horror movies, and I think I'm going to do some horror movie content on my channel as well, because if you didn't know, I love horror movies, and also I just have some other fun stuff coming up. So let's get into the video without further ado. The first book I'm going to talk about is Just Married by Kiersten Modglin, I believe. I think that's how you say her name. If I mispronounce some of these author names, I apologize. I'm not the most amazing at pronouncing names, but I'm just gonna go for it, so please forgive me for that. But this will be coming out on July 5th. This is about a woman who goes on a honeymoon in this secluded cabin in the woods, and she's really excited about it. However, usually stories like this don't go well, and this follows suit. She starts to think that she actually maybe doesn't know her husband very well after all. A note is left on their doormat saying, "She's dead, you're next," which obviously scares her a ton, and she tells her husband and wants to go to the cops about it, but he won't let her. So that's the first red flag. She also knows something terrible that he did years ago, and it's tearing her apart, and it's really hard for her to keep it a secret. And she's scared that maybe he has some other dark secrets that she doesn't know about. Someone cuts the phone lines now at their cabin, and it is clear that they're not alone. So this sounds so good and really scary, and I really can't wait to read this book once it comes out. The next book is No Place Like Home by Lynda Stacey. This comes out July 5th, and this book looks really good. So I'm actually just going to read the description off my laptop for this one. It says, "He knows who you are." Sisters Molly and Beth Winters thought the remote clifftop house would be the perfect place to hide away from their mother's brutal murder. They were wrong. He wants revenge. Because someone from the girls' past has already found their safe house, and he is watching and waiting in the shadows, ready to make them pay. He won't stop until you're dead. Their new house should have been the place the sisters were safe, but no place is safe forever. So once again, another isolated thriller that sounds great. So this next one sounds exceptional, and it is called Cabin Fever. This one is about Alex Dahl, and it is also coming out July 8th. So this one is about a therapist, and one day her client shows up and starts begging her to come to this cabin in the woods with her. It's remote, and she seems super distressed. Now, of course, the therapist does not agree because, hello, why would she? That's such a weird request. But when this patient doesn't show up for the next 2 sessions, she decides to actually go and look for her patient because she's worried about her. So when she gets to this secluded cabin in the woods, though, she finds this manuscript, and it's unfinished, and it's by her patient. And the main character seems to be very familiar. So this immediately grabbed my attention. This sounds really interesting, and once again, remote setting. I promise there are some others that aren't just remote setting thrillers coming up later, but this one sounds fantastic, and it happens to be coming out on the 8th as well. The next book is The Stalker by Alderson, and this comes out July 8th. This description says, 2 newlyweds, 1 remote island. It was meant to be the perfect escape. Newlyweds Liam and Laura are spending their honeymoon in paradise, just the 2 of them, on a remote island off the coast of Scotland. But they soon discover that all is not as it seems, and the island has a tragic past, and they can't shake the feeling of being watched. When one morning they wake to find a message scratched into the window, their worst fears are confirmed. They aren't alone on the island, and this stranger wants them dead. But it became the perfect nightmare. This last one is the last one being published on July 8th, but it is called The Runner, and it's by P.R. Black. So this is about someone named the Woodcutter Killer, and he's locked away in prison, but what he did in his past was he abducted lone joggers and pulled out his blade on them. But one day, the main character in this book finds out that that man is her father. And that's all the description says, so it's very vague, but it makes you think, what would you do in that situation? And it really has me intrigued, so I'm interested to see what this story is all about. On July 13th, One to Blame by S.E. Lynes comes out. This is about Isla, and she gets a call in the middle of the night, unfortunately, that her sister named Annie and her husband have passed away in a fire. And so she goes to the house to go discover things and pick through the ashes. However, she starts discovering that her sister's life is not what it seemed, and that her sister was pretending to be living this great life when really she was not. So as she looks through the ashes, she has to decide if she wants to know the truth about her sister's life or if she wants to protect the family that she has left. So this next book is actually not a thriller, it's a horror book by Grady Hendrix. It's the Final Girl Support Group, and this comes out on July 13th. And I wanted to mention this one because it sounds really, really good. I love the Final Girl trope, and I wanted to know if you wanted me to make a video of anticipated horror releases that are coming out in 2021. So let me know down in the comments. But this book is about a woman named Lynda, and she survived a massacre 22 years prior. And she's been meeting with this support group and a therapist with 5 other women who are also final girls. But one day, one of the final girls does not show up, and she finds out that somebody knows about their group and wants to ruin all their lives. This sounds so good, and I can't wait to get to it next month. This next book I want to talk about is called Serial Cheaters by Olivia Flaggert, and this one is coming out July 13th. I actually was kindly sent an arc of this book by the publisher and author, and I am so excited to get to this book. It looks right up my alley. So this book is about a woman who is an author, but on the side, she murders people. And not just people, she murders serial cheaters. So Amy Carson is a detective, and she has to try to figure out who is doing these murders and stop them before more serial cheaters are found dead. And in the description, it says this is perfect for readers who love Dexter, You, and also They Never Learn. I absolutely love They Never Learn. It is probably my favorite thriller that I've read this year. I just absolutely love that book, so I'm so excited to dive into this book and share my thoughts with you all. Another book that's coming out July 13th is The Therapist by B.A. Paris, and I read Behind Closed Doors by her and I really liked it, so I'm excited to read this one. So it says, when Alice and Leo move into a newly renovated house in the Circle, a gated community of exclusive houses, it is everything they've ever dreamed of, but appearances can be deceptive. As Alice is getting to know her neighbors, she discovers a devastating secret about her new home and begins to feel a strong connection with Nina, the therapist who lived there before. Alice becomes obsessed with trying to piece together what happened 2 years before, but no one wants to talk about it. Her neighbors are keeping secrets and things are not as perfect as they seem. The next book, I'm actually going to read the description as well because it's sort of vague and I'm not even sure what it's about, but it sounds really good. It is For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing, and this is coming out on July 20th. And this author also wrote My Lovely Wife, which I'll be reading very soon, and that has received a ton of good reviews. And this one is really highly rated, so I'm very excited to get to it. The description says, Teddy Crutcher has won Teacher of the Year at the esteemed Belmont Academy, home to the best and brightest. He says his wife couldn't be more proud, though no one has seen her in a while. Teddy really can't be bothered with the death of a school parent that's looking more and more like murder, or the student digging a little too deep into Teddy's personal life. His main focus is on pushing these kids to their full academic potential. All he wants is for his colleagues and the endlessly meddlesome parents to stay out of his way. It's really too bad that sometimes excellence can come at such a high cost. So this one sounds super good, and I love thrillers that take place in academic settings, so I'm really excited to dive into this, and I hope I love it. Another book that's coming out on July 20th is False Witness, and this is by Karin Slaughter. And my favorite thriller, possibly of all time, is Pretty Girls by Karin Slaughter. It is so well written. She's such a talented author, and I highly recommend it to anyone. However, I will say, please look up the trigger warnings because Karin Slaughter, she does not shy away from violence. It's very graphic, it's very brutal and disturbing. And the characters feel very real, and it just is... it's a lot to take in. So with that being said though, Pretty Girls is such a good book. The writing style is amazing. It's like over 600 pages, I believe, but it doesn't feel like it. I flew through it because I had to know what was going to happen. So this is another book by her and it looks exceptional. So I'm going to read you what this one is about. An ordinary life. Lee Colton has worked hard to build what looks like an ordinary life. She has a good job as a defense attorney, a daughter doing well in school, and even her divorce is relatively civilized. Her life is just as remarkable as she's always hoped it would be. Hides a devastating past, but Lee's ordinary life masks a childhood which was far from average, a childhood tarnished by secrets, broken by betrayal, and finally torn apart by a devastating act of violence. But now the past is catching up. Then a case lands on her desk defending a wealthy man accused of rape. It's the highest profile case she has ever been given, a case which could transform her career if she wins. But when she meets the accused, she realizes that it's no coincidence that he's chosen her as his attorney. She knows him and he knows her. More to the point, he knows what happened 20 years ago and why Lee has spent 2 decades running. And time is running out. If she can't get him acquitted, she'll lose much more than the case. The only person who can help her is her younger estranged sister, Callie, the last person Lee would ever want to ask for help, but suddenly she has no choice. Karin Slaughter loves writing about family dynamics, particularly with sisters, and I really enjoy reading about sister dynamics. She also really likes writing about estranged sisters, and I just think this is probably going to be an exceptional book. So this next one I am particularly excited for because it sounds super creepy. So this is called The Housemaid and it's by Sarah A. Denzil, and this is also coming out July 20th. This is about a maid who works for the Howards, and they're this wealthy family and they live in this beautiful estate. However, things are a little creepy there. First of all, the housekeeper is strict and he keeps popping up and watching her, and he's creepy, so A. B, she gets this package and it's delivered. And what's in this package, you say? Something very creepy. It's a miniature doll version of her trapped in the house she's in, and she's murdered at the bottom of the stairs. So yeah, that's really creepy. So as soon as I heard that, I was like, I need to read this book immediately. Well, sadly, I have to wait a little while, but as soon as it comes out, I'm reading this because this sounds really creepy. Also, one of the wings in the house is apparently rumored to be haunted, so that sounds really interesting. And also, Lord Howard's son is taking interest in her, and she's drawn to him even though he is not good for her. So this sounds really, really good, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. So I am really excited about these thrillers. They sound amazing. Per usual, I probably can't read them all in July because I just don't have that much time to read all of the books that I'm so excited for. I have a never-ending TBR, but please let me know in the comments which ones sound the most interesting to you and what your most anticipated release in July is. And I will talk to you all so very soon. Bye.